clear country.
Yeah.
Well, right in the middle of Fort Huachuca, the most beautiful reserve country and all that, looking out towards the Mogollon Rim where the Apaches have lived for 6,000 years, traipsing up and down.
So we're going to head it.
They wanted to put this big, huge balloon.
This food here?
Bye.
Bye-bye. Where are you off to?
Yeah.
You off too?
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
Take a bite out of that bowl that's in there, that hat that's in the kitchen.
And I'm going to try to shove the tape.
Why not?
Oh, yeah, that'll be great.
Be well, huh?
Anyway, they wanted to tie this balloon up, right? Where on this rope it would be shining there like a sun or a moon, as it were, in the center of this skyline that has nothing on it but this huge rim of pine trees that's 100 and some miles away.
Yeah.
And of course, the people that lived here were ex-retired brigadier generals, major generals, major colonels, and all that stuff that had served at Fort Huachuca, which was a military base with missiles and all that other stuff, high-tech place.
Yeah.
It did lots and lots of stuff for Nicaragua, Costa Rica, or not Costa Rica, but Guatemala, El Salvador, through Fort Huachuca. They've been flying that way for a long time. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here was these guys who've been doing that suddenly going to have this thing about the size of a quarter sitting out there like a silver sun or a moon, day or night. But because it's a 10,000-foot tethered rope, it is constantly, or cable, it is constantly going.
Oh, really?
It's toining. It's toining because the balloon's helium is trying to get off of there, right? So we have this conflict of energies, and there it is. And of course, they lose 40% of them anyway to weather and other things.
Oh,
And they're only allowed to fly so many days out of the year anyway because of wind and other stuff. But they needed some huge, god-awful amount of more money for it, and they were trying to push their legislation through. And watch this. Deacon Sini and Graham were going to be at Colorado Springs at this fancy hotel to do the annual Mexican and American senatorial and congressional co-house meetings. They have people from committees in the legislature in Mexico and committees from the legislature of Congress, House and Senate both, and they meet 1 year in America and 1 year in Mexico and 1 year in the States and 1 year in Mexico. And this was our year in the States. They may actually meet twice a year now that they're on such good terms about trade and all that stuff. But I think '86 they were still just meeting once a year. And so, of course, on the drug war issue was this issue, and they were both going to be there, and there was going to be no opposition, and they just had a hearing at Fort Huachuca in the town, and the people were screaming about it, and they did not want it, and it was like 168 to 8 or 12 or something. It was like ridiculous. And people in Tucson, Michael, you got to catch a plane and go. That's it. Goodbye. That's how I'm home growers or whatever in Tucson. That's the way I've been for years. So here I am, airfare and everything, and I wind up on one of these little goofy planes with 10 seats or 12 seats, and a pilot up there, and one guy, me and one guy.
Yeah, he's with the CIA.
And this one guy is 312 pounds if he's an inch. And because of the way the plane is made and everything, he sits in the back of the plane by himself, and I sit on the third chair on the left-hand side. And I know he's back there because I can feel the plane lifting. You know what I'm saying?
Till Thanksgiving.
We probably are in the neighborhood of, 3 people or 4 people, right? Just the 2 of us. And it's a buffety little wind, and we fly from Denver over to Colorado Springs. The Rockies are right there, man. You know what I mean? You're sailing, and it's flying again. It's not, not the intercontinental. It's flying again, which I liked. It was nice because I hadn't had that in a while.
Yeah.
And I've jumped out of those kind of planes and stuff, so it's a nice thing. Yeah, it's not. It's an interesting thing. You really are flying. You're not just transporting. So anyway, I fly into Colorado Springs. I'm at the hotel and everything, and And of course, I get Deacon Cini right away in the hall, and Graham the next morning for breakfast, and with the press right there, and I'm telling, well, the people in the town are against it. And of course, the media give me a couple of moments off to the side. Who am I, and whatever. And
Jules, it's about 2 o'clock.
Almost CNN what a CNN type thing asks me, and so I tell them locally, what the problem is and how come we're against it and everything, because this is a pristine area and it's a wilderness and this thing isn't necessary anyway, and so on and so forth. Well, anyway, they get the balloon, but they didn't get the money for it for quite a while, but they got the balloon. The worst part of the balloon's humming thing is that it draws birds in at night. And they fly into it.
They go out and shoot birds.
No, they fly into it, and it kills them, and they drop. And they have to. Yeah, at night, and they fly, and they kill over an acre of land. There's dead birds all year long that they have to clean up all year long. So it's like it's a nasty mess. And anyway, but that put me in Colorado Springs. I had a return ticket to Tucson, and no sooner got into Tucson than Jack Harris on the phone, and he says, please come to the normal conference at OMI, normal, blah, 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 86, we've got to get this thing, it's going to be on the ballot, blah, blah, blah. Please come. So I went, and I got there, stayed at his house one night. The second night, we were down at the conference, and I could see that Normal had sort of twisted the whole thing into it was their show now. It wasn't it wasn't Oregon Marijuana Initiative at all anymore. And consequently, it was, I had a lot of questions about it, a lot of questions with the people that were running it, and also with, some of the people that were on the Oregon Marijuana Initiative team. The very people that I had questions about now are in other things and do, they do other things, and some of them are still in the movement, doing pretty much the same old things, but they're well respected and all that stuff. And it's just, with me, it's cool, it's over with and done. But at the time, as I'll well state in my book, I thought that they bought a bill of goods from Normal, and they thought that they were going to get both money, and that Normal's support would mean clout, and it didn't, and they only pulled 27% of the vote or something, and this is after, from 82 to 86, they were getting it on the ballot, going through court, getting free publicity, you know what I mean, and they never got the growers to support them in that campaign either. So you have to look at it. What are the when you get into that question, you're talking about the politics of prohibition. What are the various times that we've had in the movement, real deliberate steps that anybody that was an astute campaign handler would have done had they had this issue that's so among the absolute best voter registration tools in the country is to talk about privacy. The right to grow and consume in the privacy of your own home is just, you find 5 out of 6 people have an opinion on it right away, right on. And just, there's nothing that moves that fast that you can talk about. I'm serious, and I've been at it 25 years now, and nothing works quite like that in a park, in a school, anywhere, shopping mall, anywhere. Stand up and start drafting, and it's over with. Watch, get the tables going. Break out the t-shirts, we're in business. Now, the other side of that is that because of that, we've never, and everybody's been doing it their way, we've never had, we've never had, an overall national strategy in the movement.